Hello and welcome to the Science Assembly. So why is there a picture of a smiling scientist on the screen? Well, I'll tell you why she's smiling, because a report last week suggested that trust and understanding and belief in the science's ability to solve some of our problems has massively increased in public perception over the last 12 months. 92% of adults in Britain now say that they have faith in scientists to be able to make sensible decisions around our health and climate change. And a whopping 89% say that science has an important role to play in their day-to-day lives. That has almost doubled over the last 12 months as scientists have been in the news almost every day. But they've been in the news to talk about COVID. So what about some other things that are important to us? Well, let's start with something really small. Yes, that is a Vietnamese mouse deer. And the Vietnamese mouse deer had not been seen and believed extinct for 31 years until this year. During lockdown, it was spotted on a motion capture camera there, and it's still very much alive and well. So what else is important? Well, this young scientist, that's Fionn, is from Ireland, and back in 2019, he won the Google Grand Science Fair prize of $50,000 because he invented a method of removing microplastic from water. Now, that's in the news all the time, the fact that microplastic is appearing in animals, in the food chain, and in our water. And he invented a method, a really simple and cheap method of taking it out of water during water treatment plants. Now, although that was done 2 years ago, over lockdown, that has gone into production for the first time. And there is actually a water plant in Ireland removing microplastics from the drinking water before it's shared. So a fantastic beginning to make a dent in one of the problems facing us. Well, another one of the problems facing us is climate change. And all we hear is doom and gloom about how awful it is. But here are three things that are actually happening because of the public perception and because of science that's making that different. So there have been a lot of talks over the last 12 months about science and the science of climate change. And the United Nations is a League of Nations that have signed up to some climate goals. And it looks like their goals are actually within reach because of the number of countries that have signed up to these pledges. We may actually be able to make the changes that we need to. Here's one of the ways that might happen. Those green panels that you see on top of those buildings are not solar panels, which is what a lot of people think. They actually contain algae, and they're carbon capture panels. What they do is that they remove huge amounts of carbon dioxide from the air because they contain algae that are growing inside. And that algae can then be used as plant protein. And plant protein is becoming more and more important to us as more and more people become vegan. So this carbon capture idea is something that's growing in many different ways around the world. And there's one example. Hang on, you've just talked about being vegan and now you've got a bacon sandwich on. Well, that bacon sandwich was actually a drawing made by a scientist to try and explain what he was doing in terms of lithium-ion batteries. Because if we're going to beat climate change, one of the things that's going to be more important in your future is that cars are going to become electric. They're all going to be electric. The problem there is the batteries that run them, the lithium-ion batteries, because they can only be recharged perhaps 1,000 times before they need refurbished or replaced. And at the moment, it takes several hours to charge them. Well, this scientist has invented a battery that can be charged 10,000 times in about 20 minutes each time. It works really well, and it's going to go into production. That was designed over lockdown. And that is something you're going to see very much in your futures as you start to learn to drive and get cars. And then finally, let's end on something positive again to take out a lockdown. Huge number of people nationally and around the world took to walking during lockdown to help with their well-being, to get their exercise, to help with their physical well-being, and also to help with their mental well-being. And a fantastic study posted last week, again, looked at the benefits of walking near the sea or walking near trees or walking on grass and how that boosted our well-being. So if we take anything out of what's happened in the last 12 months and keep it, perhaps walking is the thing that we should keep. I hope that's been interesting for all of you. Thank you very much.